Welcome to the Big O Money Show. Bill Altman here, Tony Shore, co-host. Thanks, Tony. Always great time. Uh, Great markets. We've seen it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Fantastic. We have. I mean, once again, it's like a repeat, right? We have 10% returns pretty much on the market overall. I mean, if you look at the Dow, we're
year to date
8, 9, and then Nat 10. I mean, on from S&P, Dow, and NASDAQ. Fantastic, right? That's good. We have to remember, though, we have to keep it in our tolerance of risk. You know, markets are great, Tony, right? And we know that. We just celebrated we're celebrating America's 250th.
Yeah, that's huge.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a really big deal.
It is. Yeah. I remember the bicentennial. I'm old enough to remember the 1976 bicentennial. That was a big deal. This is bigger, 250. I mean, that is unbelievable, really. And we're a really young country comparatively, to Europe.
We really are, and we have to remember that too.
Yeah. But look how much we accomplished in 250 years. It's amazing.
Tony, I'm really glad you said that too, because in the 30s, FDR gave famous fireside chats announcing the concept of Medicare and Social Security. So that's what that really developed back then. And then in 1940, our first Social Security check was paid out to Ida Mae Fuller, who is the first beneficiary of Social Security. And I think it was in the neighborhood of like $30 or $40. I'm not looking at the numbers right off the top.
Well, it wasn't very big. Yeah.
Yeah. But regardless, so when we talk about being an older country versus a younger country, we have to think about what that means. And so an older country, if you start involving more social programs, right? And so some will call that socialist or whatever, and it gets to that point. I don't think America will ever get to that point. I really hope not, because it's not beneficial for everybody at all.
Right.
But you have social programs. So what social programs have we started here in the United States over the last decade? Well, how about go back to 1930s? Go back to FDR. So social programs of retirement security with Social Security, Medicare, that's retirement security because I can get health care at 65, right?
Yep.
As long as you qualify for those benefits for Social Security, if you have 40 quarters, 10 years of working full-time, basically, you have four quarters per year, 10 years, 40 quarters. So if you have that, fantastic. You qualify for benefits. But you also have to have another type of stream of income. And then so you have your 401ks or simple IRA or your SEP or your Roth that you contribute, or if you buy rental homes or whatever it may be. But all of this kind of contributes to that piece. But, as for...
You have to have more than one income stream. Obviously, and that's where you help people, because people solving for income in retirement is the trick. Yeah. And just to clarify, Ida Mae Fuller, the amount she received was $22.54. And you were right, it was 1940. I checked on the SSA.gov website. That's according to the Social Security Administration. But she, over her lifetime, received $22,000, over $22,000, which in today's money would be $526,000.
Really? Well,
yeah.
Gotcha. Yep.
Over her retirement. Yeah.
Yeah.
She did live a long time, though.
It's a big check. And, so all of these benefits, right? We've talked about it so many times on the show, all these benefits, they have to be paid out. People have contributed to these plans all their life, and they're guaranteed a pension, I would say, right? By the United States government.
Yep.
And so for the United States government to enact laws that protect pension plans around the world, really, but our United States pension plans.
Right. Yeah.
right? That support lots and lots of people around the world.
Sure.
We enact laws to support them, to make
Yeah.
sure that they can't go away, to make sure that they're
Right.
funded. We have levels of reserves. The insurance industry keeps it's mandatory for guaranteed benefits, a dollar for dollar on reserve for all guaranteed benefits. So you have all this, so for those benefits to go down, if the government comes in and says, Tony, you're going to retire at 65 or 67, and your benefits were going to be, $2,000 a month, but now they're going to be $1,750, and Tony's like, yes.
Yeah.
What the heck? I've contributed all of my life for this. So what do you do, on the inside? Well, you protect yourself and you invest and all that kind of jazz. But do you really think they're going to go down like that? Do you really think that's going to happen?
I don't personally.
You think it's going to, so Tony,
could it happen?
On
but
the flip side
yes.
of it, we're on the flip side. So you're talking about the same government that forced pension companies to make sure that they pay out all their recipients.
Yeah.
The same government that said that you have to do this, and they're not going to try to rob Peter and pay Paul and make sure it's right on the other side. See, I'm on the other side. So Tony says, you know what? They're going to take him down, but Tony's planning. Tony's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to set aside an extra dollar amount to
I'm saying it could happen, but actually I don't think they will cut it, Bill. I'm actually with you on that. I don't think they will cut it, but I do believe it's a chance, so I do plan, right? I mean,
but you do plan.
I hope for the best, but prepare for the worst, right?
I mean, that's the deal, right? And you set aside a certain amount of money, right? And it's like whatever dollar amount that you need, and everybody's dollar amount is different. So if you need an extra $1,000 a month or an extra $10,000 a month, obviously that means you need a different starting point, a different dollar to create that.
Right.
We set that piece aside, right, to make sure that we have that extra $1,000 a month or whatever your number is, right? We set that aside to make sure that that's always created, right?
Yes.
And then the rest we can invest normally, I'll say, and the other side, it's not normal money, right? But again, we have buckets. And so how can we make sure that we have our longer term bucket, our shorter term, and then our really immediate term? That's important.
Yes.
Huge. And that's the financial planning side. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, well, geez, well, like last week we talked about craziness, people not planning, not doing their estate planning. Well, I'm not going to dig into that today, don't worry. But Tony, big deal. It's a big freaking deal. Dot all of your I's and cross your T's.
That's where people make the most expensive mistakes, right? Is some of the most expensive mistakes, and really leave their family in bad situations. So you want to look at all these factors, and I think that every week we're talking about different aspects of this. Sometimes we focus on taxes, sometimes we focus on Medicare, sometimes we focus on Social Security, but you have to tie it together and have a retirement plan and investment plan in place. Whether you own property, you have stocks, creating a personal pension is a big deal. And I think, you've helped so many people do that. You need to know the income's going to be there. And then beyond that, how do we grow the rest and let it grow, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's very important. Yeah, just to make sure you have security and family security, and then you can transfer that into. We've talked so many times, Tony. You say family harmony.
Yes.
We
maintain family harmony, and the way to do that is have a plan in place. You don't want to leave your loved ones with a huge tax burden,
right?
Which is where Roth come in. You don't want to leave your family with a mess to deal with or years of court. You want things to transfer easily. And there are so many aspects of that. Do you have transfer on death designations for your properties? Do you? Yeah.
Or your cars or your motorcycles. I mean, next time you're at the DMV, I mean, I don't believe you can do it if you have a loan or a lease on your car. But if you don't have a loan or a lease, whether it's your boat or your car or your motorcycle or your trailer, whatever it may be, you can actually go to the DMV in Omaha And like I go to the 156th and Maple location, okay, across from the Hy-Vee.
Sure.
And I'll pay an extra $10 to have the title changed over to my beneficiary of my 2012 KTM. It's fantastic. Braden, right? And so my transfer on death on there. So in the middle of this form is this transfer on death.
Yeah.
Which you can do. When you purchase a car, if you do not take a loan for it or a lease,
yeah,
there is an area on the middle of the form that they sign, like the purchase agreement or whatever that goes to the state, whatever they send to the state.
Yeah.
That middle, it says TOD. They always put a big X through it.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, why is there an X? And they're like, oh, that's not, necessary. No, that's the beneficiary designation for the vehicle that you bought.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be, the jet ski or the whatever, it doesn't matter. And so you put that in there. And so you tell them to print another form without the X. And I'm going to write in there, Dr. Tony Shore.
Yes.
Gets the boat trailer.
Just the trailer.
Yeah. Not the fishing boat. Not the fishing boat.
He gets the tractor. He gets the John Deere. Just leave me the tractor. Take it down to the farm in Worthington. So, yeah, that's interesting. It's funny how you say that, because now I remember buying a vehicle and that was on there and it was X'd out. That is in there. And they said, don't worry about that. And I didn't even think about it. That is a great point.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's just the beneficiary. So what happens? So so why do you do it? Not for you, for your loved ones. That's
right. It makes it so much easier, because otherwise it's tied up, and you don't want it to be tied up. Yeah. And then there's more hoops to jump through and more forms for them. And they're already going to be grieving. They're going to be going through an emotional time. You want them to have to deal with all that and for it to take,
not for us, but
yeah, okay. But you're right. And I didn't even know that you could put beneficiary designations on bank accounts. And you can
payable on POD.
Yeah, you can do that. And my wife and I did that. We actually put it all to our trust. We have a trust set up, and we went and we went to the bank. You got to go down in person to do this. It's not an online thing. And they sign and notarize that, hey, we're going to put a beneficiary designation on this. Did I leave it to Adam? Did I leave it to Bill Altman? No, I left it to the trust.
Yeah.
And then the trust figures out
goes to me.
It eventually all goes to Bill, but no, poor Adam and Allison and Anna. Yeah. Oh well.
I told Tony I'll take care of them. But that's a good point though, right? So we raise this and we talk to so many people and they're like, hey, everything's going to John. And John, has 3 other siblings, but John's most responsible. And John's gonna take care of and he's gonna pay them out. That's a terrible idea.
It's a horrible idea. Yeah. Do not ever do that.
Designate your beneficiaries. Yeah. So that's another.
And be specific.
The estate.
Yeah, you can make him the executor.
Yeah, and that's the estate of. Well, I was in the estate because I painted Tony's roof.
Yeah,
I don't think you paint roofs, but I painted it. And he owes me money. He owes me $5,000. So you tie it up in probate court.
Yeah.
And the definition of probate is the process of proving your will. Right? So the process of proving your will is a court process called probate.
Yeah.
And there's informal probate, there's formal probate. It could take a long time. It could take 9 months, which seems like a long time, but for probate, it's not.
Yeah. It could be expensive. It could take 9 months. It could take 2 years. And it costs money. It'll take money out of less money will go to your loved ones because
100%.
They're going to take money out for attorneys and court fees. And
Yep.
The fee, people are like, I don't know about a trust. It costs money. I think I don't need it. It's costs a lot less money for a trust than it does for probate court. Trust me.
Oh yeah, you spend a couple grand on a trust or so.
Yeah.
Getting everything set up, and it's simple. You still own everything, right? Yeah. And I'm not an attorney, and nor is Tony.
No.
However, we do work with really good estate planning attorneys. We work with
Yeah.
Cynthia Epstein.
Yep.
And Cynthia and her dad were in practice forever and ever. Cynthia still, her
Yeah.
dad's passed. A gentleman and a scholar, Irv Epstein. And then we also work with Andrea Galvin, who's an estate.
Might recognize that last name.
I bet you do. Yeah, it's Andrew's wife. Yeah, and she's great, very smart.
She's the brains of the operation.
She specializes in that area.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, when it comes to Andrew and Andrea, she's the brains. He's just eye candy.
I mean, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to Danielle and myself, I'm just the eye candy.
Yeah, right.
Right. I think Danielle's the eye candy and the brains. Yeah, and I'm just the Tony's friend.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, Bill, this is all very important, but I think people need to understand that they shouldn't try to go it alone. And I'm not just trying to plug you, but you guys really cover the basis. You have Medicare specialists, you have CPAs and tax specialists, you have estate planning attorneys, all there under one roof, and the financial advisors who are fiduciaries who are going to look out for your best interest. They're not just going to try to sell you some financial product or just you got to put all your money in stocks, and no, they're going to look at what you need. And that's what really has impressed me, Bill. I mean, I have family that utilize you and your services there, and you take really good care of all your clients, and that's why they've been with you for so long. And I think that's important to note. And whether it is Bill and his team or another trusted financial professional, make sure it's somebody you like, somebody you trust, and that is looking at all of those items, not just your 401k or not just an insurance product. You've got to have a good mix and a balance, right?
Yeah, it's so important. Absolutely. Really want to call that one place is what I like to say, and it's the whole call Bill's office, call Premier. Because all of your documents, your legal documents, your wills, your powers of attorney, your trust, your taxes, CPAs on staff. I mean, we own the CPA firm. So this isn't like I saw the other day, Tony, something come out and it said, are you sick of your financial advisor sourcing out your tax or whatever it said? No, it's in-house.
Yes.
Okay. So when it comes down, like you mentioned Roth earlier, when it comes down like Roth conversions, we're talking to Julie about, hey, does this work for their situation? It's November. I would like to do a conversion, but is it going to throw them into a new tax bracket? Is it going to add an IRMA, an income related Medicare adjustment to their Medicare payments? Or can we stay under that? What can I do to stay under those brackets? We have that in-house. So from the legal side to the tax side to the investment, to the Medicare, to the life insurance. And heck, Danielle works with a lot of our clients on the real estate side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you even have property and real estate investments covered. That is so huge. And what you said there, decisions you make with retirement and investment planning can affect your taxes. And what you said is you can save people a ton of money by knowing these things. If you're in a 12% tax bracket, and you say, I wanted your advisor says, do a Roth conversion. And you do it. 22. And now you bumped up to 22% tax bracket plus from 12.
Yeah. Plus state taxes.
Yeah. Plus the state. That's just federal. Yeah.
And then what did it do if you're a single person, you're filing and you're over $108,000 and you've got IRMA now. Now you got IRMA for the next 2 years and an income related Medicare adjustment on your premiums.
Yeah, if you're 65 or older, you got to really be careful, or your Medicare premiums could go from $202 all the way up to as much as over $600 a month if you have too much income in 1 year or taxable money in 1 year.
It's the planning. So Tony, thank you for saying that earlier, but you're exactly right. We try to make sure that we know as much as we can about you so the whole fact and the feeling finding, like the facts, and then like how you feel about all that kind of stuff, we want to know that.
Yeah.
We can better help you prepare for what you want to do, what's in store, what happens now and what happens in 20 years from now. We talk about like your go-go years, so you retire and, for those first, well, let's just say it's 10 years. It's not 10. No one does this for 10. Never seen it. Okay. Well, that's not true. Some people go. But
Right.
you retire and
Grandpa
it's like,
Bob, come
I'm
on.
going to go to Bob. Yeah. But he didn't go. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, though. So
Yeah.
you retire and it's like you go. And it's like, I'm going to Greece. I'm going to go tour the Vatican. I'm going to go do all this. And then it's like, well, geez, that flight across the pond it's a long one, and those first class tickets are really expensive. I can't do those, so it's like, honey, I think we'll just go to like Wyoming next year. So, and then you go into like the slow go. So now so you did the go, you're good. You've been there. You saw that, crossed the pond.
Yep.
And now you're like slow go. So it's kind of like, okay, yeah, Wyoming. Hey, honey, let's get a camper. We'll put it on the hitch of the old ridge line and we'll head up, and we'll camp. And oh yeah, that's great. So that's your slow go, and that lasts a few years. And then you go into no go. And the no go is like you've been there, done that, right?
Yeah.
And so you're kind of like chilling. So people think their expenses go up in retirement, but they actually kind of go down until you get, if the case comes up, long-term care, if you need it. And Tony, you're very familiar with this situation, and it is what it is. Either you insure for it yourself or you insure for it through an insurance company, right? And either way, it stinks.
Yeah.
It's a piece, though. We can help you with that. Typically, it's not traditional long-term care insurance, but we can help you reposition assets to make sure that those assets cover your expenses or a portion of your expenses. It's a big deal, right? And I don't have to tell Dr. Tony Shore about this any more than right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, my mother had Parkinson's and she's been in long-term care now over 4 years. And when she started, it was she was $6,000 a month. Now it's $11,000 a month. My dad is in long-term care and it's $7,800 a month.
Yep. There you go.
And so it's outrageous, right? And they didn't have that kind of money. Fortunately, my mom had a little bit of long-term care insurance that covered a small portion of it, like $1,000 a month, I think. But every bit helps. And then Medicaid had to kick in. Medicare doesn't cover any of it. Medicaid kicked in, but then Medicaid can come back. The state can come back and say, hey, we're going to recoup all that money if you inherit anything, family business.
Recapture assets. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you got to be careful.
Yeah, and if it's not outside that 5-year look back, and you have all these other rules, so you want to work with someone that you trust, you like. That's important. Make sure you like them, okay? And then also someone that's competent. If we kind of fit that, or you want to talk to us a little bit, give us a call. We can kind of walk you through different things, scenarios, whether it's retirement or what we were talking about, that long-term care piece, or Medicare, tax, whatever it may be, estate planning. 402-557-6730. Again, right here in Omaha, 402-557-6730, or bigomoney.com.
All right, Bill, great show today. And listeners and viewers, thanks so much for tuning in. That does it for this episode of the Big O Money Show and our host, Bill Altman.